Hey guys, welcome back. This video is kind of a quick one about a RAVE valve mod that I did. It's not my idea. This is a pretty standard thing that you do. You cut holes in the top of these caps so you can actually see if your RAVE valves are working. Around 5,000 RPMs or so, they should be bouncing up and down, or actually bouncing up. And the way that these things work is at lower RPMs, there's a guillotine that slides in there that makes the exhaust channel appear smaller to the engine, so you get more lower end horsepower. And at upper RPMs, the crank pressure from the engine expands the bellows in here, which sucks up those guillotines and makes the exhaust look bigger, and you get more top end power. So there's a power band for how these things work, and that's why they call them power valves. That is not the same as this thing here. That is not a RAVE valve. Sometimes we call that a RAVE valve. Don't call that a RAVE valve. That is a water regulator and is very different and has almost nothing in common other than appearance. Maybe the top hat, the way it looks, but nothing to do with these. These are totally about the exhaust. So you can see what I've done is I've drilled 2 holes in there so you can actually see the inner workings of that. Top piece of that is going to come up when the engine revs. I'm going to show you what that looks like so you can put your eyes on it. Meanwhile, just so you know, this is what the OEM RAVE bellows look like. They're very squishy and flexible and high quality, actually. So if your bellows are in good shape, don't just rush to go replace them if you don't have to. If they seal pretty good, they're fine. This is what some aftermarket ones look like. This one is not a good aftermarket one. They're almost always green, and I think the good ones are made out of a material called Viticon, something like that. Probably not saying that the right way. These are not. These are El Cheapo Chinese, real thick. I can't imagine these things operating correctly. So not bashing anybody here, but just, make sure you know what you're getting. Go to OSD Marine and get the rebuild kit for that stuff if you're not sure. This O-ring on the 787 goes underneath. This one that came in the kit is very squishy. It's an ordinary plumbing rubber O-ring. Not very good. I actually, looks like the wind blew it down here. That's not very good. These are off-the-shelf, new off-the-shelf BRP O-rings, which is what I used. And I've lost one in the process here. No big deal, but anyway, I've got 2 left. That one, those are much firmer, and they're probably a little more heat resistant. So I don't know if that matters a whole lot. Some people say, and there's some truth in it, that if these things are not sealing good, you can possibly get some exhaust gas up inside those bellows and actually melt the top part of your RAVE valve. That's a whole other discussion on that. This is the gasket that came with this kit. I did not like this gasket. I'm not going to use it. First of all, it's way too thin, and second of all, it is hard. There is no squish in this. I do not think that you would be able to get a good seal with this thing if you torqued it down, so I did not use this. I used a different one that had a little bit more squish. Keep in mind, though, that if your gaskets are too thick, you're going to pull that RAVE guillotine away from the cylinder, which might actually change the way it operates a little bit. So here's a picture of what the differences in measurements look like that I took for what was on the ski, this one, and then the one that I replaced. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn on the ski, and I want to show you how these things work. So we're gonna turn it on, and then normally I don't run skis, for very long out of the water. I do all that stuff at the boat ramp, but for this exercise, you kind of need to see, if they're running, if the bellows are expanding and the RAVE valves are pulling up. So we want to be able to look at that and see. I want to see if I can show you that. So here we go. right, so the usual engine on, water off, engine off kind of thing there. As you could tell though, you could see those things moving up and down when I revved it. So that means that those are actually working. With RAVE valves, you have to take them out and clean them periodically because the carbon and oil and stuff builds up on those things and they stick. And when they stick, you start losing a lot of RPM power. But this way, with this mod, the whole point of this video is you got eyes on it. So you can actually see if they're working or not. And there you go. So hope this helped you guys. And we'll catch you on the next one.